Dad.
Hey, how are you guys?
The kids looked forward to weekly V with their father, who was living. I thought that after his tenure would live happily together again as of four. But my name is Michelle. I got married to my husband, Ian, who I've been dating since high school and through university. It was our first love and had a whirlwind romance, like in movies. Our marriage was smooth sailing for years. We were blessed with two children. His work was going well and was working abroad on a project by himself. Raising two boys alone was challenging as a full-time housewife, with my parents' help, but I was managing. It was a weekly video call with Ian Knight. The kids were excited to be able to him. By the scheduled time, the kids, my parents gathered in front of it was like a big family event. To be honest, I was longing to speak alone about my struggle. And our future plans, which I couldn't let the kids hear. Hoping that I might get a chance, I sat down in front of the computer in the living room with my family.
Hey, how are you kids? Have you boys?
Ian smiled broadly when he saw their faces. He seemed to be well and looked the ever. The kids were busy talking nonstop what they'd done and asked him when be back. My parents also enjoyed watching the conversations. I guessed that was what it meant to smooth sailing and be happy. After the K session was over, the exhausted. That was just as well. Ian lived in a country with a 12-hour time difference. They were usually in bed by that time for that particular occasion, but they stayed up during the day.
We'll put the kids to bed. You guys can talk in private if you...
My parents were considerate and left the living room with them. I appreciated them for doing more than I could expect. We talked for half an hour about the kids' growth and future plans.
25 yards. He just wants to swim every day now. Dean is doing very well in school. His teacher praised him. I'm looking forward to their future. Lately, I've been thinking, thanks to your work, we have a good, when I think about them. Growing up, want them to have a little more time during this sensitive period. Of course, I know it's difficult.
I understand, but these couple of very important for my career. If the project succeeds soon, it will be easier for me to come back. Let's be strong for them. 33.
He encouraged me. After that, I chatted a bit about friends and asked him about his plans for the day. Soon, I reached the limit of sleepiness. My parents, who had just put the kettle on and returned to the living room, also tried.
I'm sorry, I'm exhausted now.
I have an early start tomorrow, so I to bed. I thought I had hung up the video. My brain must have shut down already, turning off. Only the camera and the call itself was still connected. It must have looked to Ian as if the ended. I felt satisfied after having spent some quality time with him.
Thank you guys for putting them. Let's recharge our energy too. Good luck.
I was about to get up from my seat.
Okay, one thing is done. Hi, I've finished with the family calendar. Come over now.
I heard Ian's happy voice calling.
Still on the line?
Apparently, someone was coming to H. He mentioned earlier that he had to go back to the site for an inspection. I wondered if it was someone from Y. I had a bad feeling when I heard his sweet voice. The sleepiness that had made me feel so drowsy earlier had now vanished, and I was wide awake. I told myself that it was probably a colleague picking him up. Hopefully, it was just an unfounded rumor and nothing was going to happen. Even though I thought so, I clicked record button on the screen. Ian had left the room to take a shower, and only the bed was in the view. My parents were also slightly uncomfortable with the tone of his voice.
He can't hear us now, can he?
My mom asked in a hushed voice.
The camera and microphone are offer, so he can't.
My dad warned me that it wasn't nice into his privacy and that I should it off.
Just a little, until he leaves. I want to see how he prepares for we see, please.
I persisted, and the three of us core watched the screen together. 15 minutes later, the doorbell rang and Ian said, "Hold on." I still didn't know what to expect. There was nothing wrong with taking before going to work and having his pick him up. I still couldn't help but feel uneasy and suspicious about his cheerful voice. I saw him get out of the shower and walk across the bedroom in his bathrobe. I thought to myself, oh no!
He wouldn't wear a bathrobe when his colleague is picking him up, right? The closet is probably in his bedroom.
My mom was anxiously talking to my me. Then we heard a woman IS voice in the distance. We saw her, probably in her 20s, with her hand wrapped around his waist, on the screen. I wondered if happiness was something that could fall apart so suddenly. Thinking, oh, I stared at the screen parents.
This is it, isn't it? It's unbelievable.
I tried to come up with something to say, but my throat felt tight and nothing else came out.
I'm going to hunt him down. Otherwise, I won't be able to calm. I'm keeping quiet for now for the sake of important evidence, but I'm going to make sure he takes responsibility for this.
My dad was furious. Ian was lying on the bed with the WC kissing and playing with her breasts. Screen. I felt like a fool, wondering what doing.
I wish we could go on another trip. We spent quite a bit last time. Do you have any money to spare?
She asked while showing him the pic, their trip on her phone.
Don't worry, I've separated your paycheck stubs. My wife doesn't know how much I get. I also handle the family savings. I spend a little, she won't know. 33.
He was very relaxed. While I was raising the kids here, he was enjoying a trip with his mistress. Moreover, as far as I heard, they were placed in the same position where I had repeatedly told him that he should not go. And then, sure enough, they started deed. I felt nauseated, but my parents and I watched them on the screen with blank expressions. My dad said,
You don't have to watch all this, G, now. It's harmful to your eyes.
I put on a brave face and replied nonchalantly. After they were done, and just as the mistress was about to leave, I quietly turned off the computer. It was already 3. We all must have been overcome with feelings, and I could see that my dad was exhausted.
Guys, let's go to bed for now.
We went back to our respective beds, but I couldn't sleep at all. My body was too tired to move, but was in a state of shock. My heart was beating 100 miles an hour. A sense of loss, a sense of despair, indescribable sense of closure overt me. I thought about what to do. I wondered if it could have been all when I woke up in the morning. Who was that woman? So many thoughts were going round and round in my head as I was fighting the sick feeling to regulate my breathing, the morn.
What's wrong, Mom? You don't look good.
My kids were worried.
Sorry, I was talking to your dad on the phone and didn't sleep much last night.
I made up a little lie.
Your mom is tired today. Nana and I will drop you guys off.
My parents took over my task for me.
Get well soon, Mom. Let's go.
The encouragement from the pure and almost brought tears to my eyes. I tried hard not to cry and sent the with a smile. I needed to get some sleep, so I went straight to bed. I drank a glass of water and went to my bedroom. Ian was supposed to come back in 2. I had to prepare as much as I could then and protect my kids, no matter. I swore to myself as I fell asleep. I must have been more exhausted than I slept until my kids came back.
Mom, wake up. Grandpa wanted takeout today, so whoa, 6 pizza. Hurry, hurry.
Jack woke me up and I staggered in dining room.
Mommy, are you okay?
Dean looked at me worried.
Yes, I'm okay. Thank you. I'm feeling much better seeing you. Did you have fun today?
I tickled them, pretending to be cheeky.
Stop it, Naidu.
They were relieved to see me looking. Seeing them happily play around, I also looked a little relieved. You can't fight a war on an empty stone. As I ate my pizza, I thought about the future. First, I told myself to find out who this woman was, and then took a mental note of an appointment with an attorney. There was no end to what I would have if I started thinking about custody and so on. For the time being, I thought it's best to consult an attorney. I didn't want to spread the rumors by consulting my friends. Fortunately, I was a housewife, and during the day, after dinner, I put the kids to bed and called my parents into the living room.
About yesterday, there's no point dwelling on it. If I didn't have kids, I would have procrastinated. Strangely enough, when I thought of Abe C., I became calm. I need your help.
Then, without a pause, my dad said,
Of course. While you were sleeping, an attorney I used to know. I know him from when one of my friar cheated on by his wife. 33.
he said proudly. I was very grateful, but I knew it was nothing to be proud of. I turned to look at my mom.
I will help you as much as I can. I trusted in so much, but he betrayed me. I wouldn't be satisfied if I didn't anything. 33.
She readily agreed. I wasn't sure what she was planning, seemed to be enjoying the situation.
I made an appointment with the dentist next weekend. Can you be there?
My dad asked about my schedule and said, the next day we started rolling. We had 2 months until Ian's visit. We wanted to settle everything before. First, I checked all the sons. It was surprisingly easy to find out his mistress. She worked for the same company as she was a secretary at an overseas. I went to his company and explained situation to his local boss to get. His boss was initially puzzled, but I showed him the video of the incident where he held his head in his hands.
I am very sorry.
I will share the situation with Mai and take the appropriate action. Next, we discussed filing for divorce and alimony. And the necessary information the attorney needed. The video evidence of his infidelity was conclusive. And I also had a cop's bank statement and contact information for the mistress. It was almost perfect, so I was told worry. Of course, I had to tell my in-laws about it. At first, they denied the accusation, saying I was making it up to get alimony. But when I showed them the video, they quickly apologized to me for their behavior.
We are so sorry. We will do everything we can to help you.
The most painful part was explaining the situation to my kids. I honestly didn't know what to tell. If I lied and told them that he could come home for a long time because of work, they would grow up looking forward to visiting without question. I didn't want to do that. I made up my mind and told them.
Your dad lied to me in a very unfair way. I'm very hurt. I can't live with him anymore when back. I'm sure you guys will miss him, but come and stay with me.
They didn't seem to understand the situation yet, but they promised to be with me. I couldn't help but cry.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
Then came the day Ian returned. I told him that I had reserved a PR at a restaurant to welcome him home family. I waited for him with my parents, Mai, and his boss. As soon as he arrived at the restaurant, he was greeted by a friendly waiter who showed him to his table.
Is there anything you need to tell?
My father-in-law asked him, managing to suppress his anger.
What's going on? Boss? All of you?
He was flabbergasted by the situation.
There's no point in keeping a secret. All I need is your signature.
I slammed down the divorce papers, alimony, and a letter of termination from his company. He was stunned and frozen, and my ire started yelling at him. I told him to speak to my attorney, the restaurant, with my parents. After that, I want to start over. I love only you with all my heart. His forgive me messages rolled in, so I told him to go through my attorney and blocked him. He staked out in front of my house several times and tried to clear the path for his parents. He intentionally bumped into them or brushed against them in a strangely friendly manner. He tried various ways to get close, including talking to mutual acquaintances. Of course, I brushed them off. I called the police when he showed up at my house, and my parents completely ignored me. I told my friends the whole story from start to finish. He was completely isolated. I was told later that when I called police, he got a little out of control. He was charged with assault and battery and joined the National Criminal Database. On the day of the court hearing, he saw the children at least once a month. When I asked him how dare he come to see them, he shrunk and fell silent. He did have the right to see them, ask to see him. He was allowed to, with me present, for a limited time. Since he came back, he had been having a pretty spectacular time. He lost his family, was disowned by parents, and was eventually laid off job. He was living on the edge while working part-time jobs to pay alimony. The salary he lied about and the savings that were used up in the end were used against him to make up a considerable amount of alimony. He also broke up with his mistress. He couldn't afford to pay child support, so his parents were paying it on his behalf as a way of apologizing to their grandchildren. He was seeing the kids in the beginning as they got to the age when they understood what had happened, the less often they wanted to see him. From the day I found out about his divorce, the day of the divorce passed like a stone in my stomach. It's a funny story now. To be honest, I don't have an ounce of sympathy or sadness for him anymore, no matter where he is or what he's going through. As for me, I invested the alimony and was very successful. I was able to send my kids to college without any difficulties. Now that my kids are independent, I have a small house in the countryside and enjoy a slow life on my own. What I enjoy most now is seeing my grandchildren, although it's not a convenient place to live in terms of having everything you need. It has plenty of natural beauty, clean air, and a very pleasant community. I don't have many reasons to go into the city, so I'm quite happy with this tranquil place. I have a family who loves me very much. My sons come to visit me with there during the summer vacation. I spend my days thinking, I'll never give up this happiness.